All right, welcome to Deal Makers. Today I am very excited because I have the one and only Marti Weinstein joining us, and we have a ton to talk about today. We're getting into personal branding, deal flow, closing deals on Instagram, the hottest tenants in the hottest markets right now. So I'm going to see if I can bring Marti in live with us. Did we do it? Yes. Marti, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me. How are you?
I've been looking forward to this personally for weeks because I'm just seeing the amount of deal velocity that you have cooking. And I know, wait, you're a little busy right now?
One could say, and I'm the kind of girl that, like, if my calendar isn't time blocked to the minute, I lose my mind. So never too busy, though. Never too busy. Let's make that clear.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I always laugh now because it's like retail is dying or retail is dead if you're like reading some of the headlines out there. But, when I'm talking to the most active brokers in town, you guys are signing deals every time I turn around. So it's fun and it's amazing. And I think the world should hear about that and know about that. So let's do this before we dive in. For anyone who doesn't know you, can you do like a quick 30-second, who you are, what's your background? How'd you end up being such a stud at deal maker?
Oh, well, thanks, Sean. Yeah, no, absolutely. So born and raised in Chicago, relocated to Phoenix, fall of 2018, and have since been in retail leasing, all third-party, tenant, landlord, you name it. If it's retail in Arizona, we touch it. Now we're going regional and soon to be national. So it's a great time to be in leasing in Arizona. And, never thought I would be in the business. Never even knew what commercial real estate was 4 years ago. And here we are. I love what I do, and I love the people I do it with. And I'm just the luckiest girl in the world. So that's really all there is to it.
I love it. It's funny as I think about you and your brand a little bit. You're a rising star in the business. Some people have been doing this for 20, 30 years. And I think almost all of us would collectively, buy you if you were a stock. You're going up in value, like across the board. It's a unanimous known thing. And let's talk about your personal brand for a sec, because you're arguably one of, if not the best that I'm seeing, not just in Arizona, but around the country. Put yourself out there and do innovative, cool things that, you see residential folks doing or other industries, but almost no one in commercial real estate is doing what you're doing right now on social media to build a personal brand. So can you walk us through that? Like, why are you doing it? What's happening because of it? And maybe even how someone should think about this if they're not doing it. Sorry for 3 questions at once, but you can just give us your global thought about it.
Yeah, I'll do my best to answer all 3. So, I grew up as a professional dancer, and that was like my first career. Hung up my dancing shoes right before I got into commercial real estate. And one thing I learned as a dancer was you're, out of sight, out of mind, right? You always want to be in front of your customer or, your network, right? So when it comes to personal branding, I think it's really important to show your consumer that you're a real person and that you're not just here to try and sell them something, because nobody wants to be sold anything. I know I don't. When I get a call from somebody trying to sell me something, I'm like, I don't have time for this. Don't call me back. See you later. Think, right? So in commercial real estate, I think we have such an opportunity to play, what some would see as a very small role in a very big picture, right? Whether it's for a landlord or a tenant, no matter what it is. So for me, I just, actually, I'm going to name drop here.
Okay.
For those who don't know that are watching this or will watch this, Beth Azor out of Florida is the queen of canvassing. She is a retail leasing mogul, right? And it was probably about a year and a half ago. I was at a conference through SiteSource, tenant rep network that we're the affiliate of in Arizona. And Beth was talking about personal branding, and she was speaking to specifically videos. Debbie Ashland, another huge retail female in the commercial real estate world, had been posting videos on LinkedIn to market spaces. And Beth was like, more people should be doing this. I'm like, well, this is right in my wheelhouse, right? I come from an entertainment background. I love being on camera. I love being able to show people an opportunity, even if they're across the country. So I said, okay, I'm going to start doing these videos. And that slowly molded into, wait, I should be posting on social media all the time. And, my friends want to see what I'm up to. My clients want to see what I'm up to. And people that don't know me yet, let me tell them what I'm up to so that maybe we can collaborate down the road, right? So I think, sorry, that was a loaded answer to your question, but I think, to those out there that may be, whether you're seasoned or new to the business, think about any other industry. Think about social media and what that's done over the last 10 years throughout the globe. You can be an influencer in your industry. You just have to, work up the courage to get in front of people each and every day and share your life with them. And I find it to be so fun. And we've gotten some great opportunities through social media. We've been able to procure clients and friends. And, I feel like we're just getting started. So it's a really exciting time to be building a brand.
Could not agree more. Absolutely nailed it. Do you want to tell us? Because I know you mentioned to me like there was an Insta lead that came in and that turned into fruition. So it's like there is actual ROI to be had on the interwebs.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Now the lease hasn't penciled yet, but we're very close. Okay. We've been working on a new development since fall of last year, right? Pandemic, whatever that was, craziness. And we're very, very close to 100% occupancy within the project. And one of the last most integral pieces of the development is a 4,000 square foot space with a 3,000 square foot patio, integral piece to activate that corridor, right? Mm-hmm. We found this deal and connected with this tenant through Instagram. I direct messaged them one day and said, hey, listen, we love your concept. We know you're going to fit here. Let's set up a meeting. That was about 5.5 months ago. And now we're about to finalize a lease with them. And it's so cool. I just got chills up and down my body because it's like, look, that took me 2 seconds to write that message. Yeah. Now we have this relationship, and we're also going to help this tenant continue to grow in the marketplace. This is just the beginning. So, for those out there that are wondering if social media is a value add to their business and if there's a return on the investment, absolutely tenfold, no question. Why not do it? And if you're not doing it, you better start soon because it's the future.
I mean, again, nailed it on the head. I imagine almost none of your peers are doing what you just walked through. And what got me excited about doing stuff like this and putting a little bit more about what we're doing is the efficiency and the scale, right? It's like we can have this conversation one time with one people, or we can record it, or we can send it live. And now hundreds or thousands of people might get a gem or a nugget because you took the time to share what you're doing and how you're doing it. Let's expand on that a little bit. So that one-off deal, Instagram, is one part, but will you walk us through a little bit more globally how you're doing your marketing, how you're generating your deal flow? And there's two things, right? Because you get listings from landlords, but then you're also getting this influx of tenants. And so, you're kind of combining these two worlds in a wonderful way. I would love to just be taken to school by you right now. So lay it on us.
Look, let me just say that we are so humbled to remain as busy as we have been, especially over the last 18 months. We recognize that no day is promised, and what I'm doing is not rocket science, right? But I feel that when you lead with positive intentions and you really are looking out for your client's best interests, good things happen. And so, we've been very fortunate to build a significant referral business through social media. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I think there's such an untapped market for leasing, sales, whatever industry you're in. You should be using LinkedIn to connect with decision makers because it's just too easy. So, as far as curation of new business and building the brand, I would say that it's just a healthy mix of Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. When I'm representing a landlord, one of the first things I do is put together a merchandising plan, right? What types of user categories, what types of tenants are we going to be focusing for the vacant spaces that are going to add value, right? And then what I'll do is I'll go to Yelp, I'll go to Google, and I'll look up the best operators in this market that fall within those categories. And more often than not, those businesses have Facebook pages or they have Instagram pages. And at that point, what I'll do is I'll connect with them, I'll reach out to them, and I'll say, hey, listen, I represent a shopping center in Chandler, for instance, and my landlord would love to sit down and talk to you because we know that your business is going to crush it in this area. Let's say they're a med spa. People are spending in personal care alone within the 3 neighborhoods that surround this center, $200 a month, whatever it is, right? We give them a tidbit, a speck of why we know they're going to be successful. Because at the end of the day, our job as landlord reps is to find value and bring tenants that are actually going to be winners. Nobody wants to get a lease signed. As much as I like making a fee, right? We all want to make money, right? That's what we do to a point. If I put a tenant in a space and they're not successful, that's a lose-lose for everybody. Now I've upset my client, the landlord, and I like sleeping at night. So especially if it's a local independent operator, I don't want to see them lose their business and their livelihood.
Yeah.
So that's just one example. We target market through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. And then on the listing side, it's just constantly performing. Again, no day is promised. So I know that as a rookie in this business, I don't have time to fail. I can't. It's not an option. I have to perform all day in and day out. And to be honest with you, Sean, if my clients are upset, I take it personally. And some will argue you shouldn't take anything personally. It's been working out okay thus far. And again, just fortunate to have the opportunities that we do today, and very much so looking forward to the very long runway we have ahead of us.
I love it. And it warms my cockles to hear you, think like a landlord and globally and like an owner, right? And so like the whole everything matters. And probably not every landlord is thinking like you are, much less brokers. So that says a lot about how strategic you're being. Okay, selfish question for me. I always love learning about people's favorite types of deals. Like if you were going to write a 6-figure check to participate in someone else's deal, or you were going to write a 7-figure check and do your own deal, do you have a favorite category or niche or location? Like what would you target and why?
So I'm going to speak to retail because that's what I practice day in and day out. But I love all real estate, so we could talk about this till I'm blue in the face and much longer than this video is going to entail. But when it comes to retail, I am a sucker for a freeway. So freeway, proximatable retail, within a mile of a freeway, already a winner. Anything with, strong frontage and visibility, also a winner. So for me, retail space that's abutted a major thoroughfare, close to a freeway. I would say small strip retail, maybe 3-4 tenant retail with an end cap drive-through. I love a drive-through. Everyone wants a drive-through. They're the hottest thing in the market, the hottest commodity, and there's not enough of them. So if I could write a check and buy a piece of real estate tomorrow, it would be a 3 or 4 tenant, multi-tenant retail strip, which again, in my eyes, that spreads the risk out a little bit versus a freestanding single tenant building with a drive-through. So I love spreading risk, right? We're risky to a point. And then that drive-through, such a value add. And you're going to backfill it overnight, right, if that tenant fails. So that's what I would buy.
I want to dissect that a little bit more because not everyone understands, I think it's implied, but location to a freeway, let's break that down a little bit. Describe why the visibility is meaningful. And then even elaborate a little bit more on a drive-through. So I kind of get the sense that there's next to none available in town, but a ton of demand. And I think part of that is pandemic related. So let's flesh that out a little bit more because it is spot on with what I'm hearing, from the most active folks.
Amazing. Well, okay, we can do that. So on a macro level in Phoenix, if you look at, the big box national retailers like Lowe's, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, more often than not, they're positioned within close proximity to one another and usually off of a freeway. The ability to position yourself near a freeway as a tenant allows you to cast a significantly larger net of customers, right? When you're at an internal intersection, figure you got 1-3-5 mile radius to really feed off of, because especially in Arizona, different than Chicago where I'm from, but here in Arizona, people don't want to drive more than 20 minutes for anything. So your captured audience is going to be within that traditional circle radius bubble, right? Now, when you put yourself off of a freeway, 10, 20 minutes in either direction, you're reaching a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm representing tenants, I always push them to consider freeway, a site within close proximity to a freeway. Yeah. And then also the traffic counts, right? I mean, freeways see well over 100,000 vehicles a day usually. So, your traffic goes up significantly already. And then, access and visibility are 2 key drivers for tenants. No matter what industry they're in, they want to be seen and they want to make sure that their customers have an easy time getting to them. So, mirror the traffic with the visibility and the access, and it's a win. Now, one thing I didn't mention about my ideal, hypothetical asset is I would want to see a diverse tenant mix within the lineup of tenants there. We are seeing a ton of food and beverage users running around in the market, mostly in the quick service arena.
Yep.
I would want to see food, personal service, medical, financial, etc. As much diversity as possible, because that only allows, from an investment standpoint too, one day when I want to go and sell this, that it's not like a little mini food court off the street with a drive-through, right?
You got it. Okay. And then do you want to go into the drive-through a little bit more? Like, I think those have always been interesting, but all of a sudden it just became smoking hot, and I think the most coveted real estate in town. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No question. We're working on some new developments in the market, Sean, and I keep stressing these developers saying, hey, listen, let's get as many drive-throughs as possible, because I'm telling you, we're going to have 15 LOIs on our desk overnight, right? So, drive-throughs are pandemic-proof. We can start there, right? Look at what happened over the last 12 months. The drive-through guys came out of this tenfold. If anything, their sales were better than they were before the pandemic. But, the drive-through allows for convenience. And in today's world with, these handy-dandy things that we carry around all day, right? We want quick, easy, to the point. And, what's amazing is a lot of these drive-through operators now are incorporating e-commerce into their models. So you can almost, order your food before you get to the restaurant, and it's ready when you're picking it up in the drive-through, So I don't think the drive-throughs are going away anytime soon. And again, how many of them are going to, remain relevant down the road? Who knows? How many drive-throughs can you really build in a shopping center? But I'm a drive-through advocate, big time. Also, somebody just knocked at my door. I'm not sure who it is, but we're going to let him hang out there. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, this is the authenticity of doing this live, right?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back, guys.
We'll give you a brief break. I can do a little housekeeping here. I always recommend, if someone's tuning in live, take a moment to say hi. We've got a few good comments coming in. Kenya, good to see you here. Emily, Dina, great to see you. So say hello, do some networking while you're here. I think that's one of the amazing benefits of LinkedIn. Welcome. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Next order of business, Marti, I would love to learn about who are the most active tenants right now. You can go, categories or specific users if you fancy, but there's a lot of demand for certain types of space, and certain users are expanding and others are contracting. So walk us through that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, the pandemic was a funny one, right? Because a lot of the user categories that we were seeing, an influx of growth in, especially the fitness guys, kind of had to slow down because people weren't allowed to really work out in those environments anymore. So I would say today, the most active user categories that we're seeing in Arizona, food and beverage, like tenfold over really anything else. It's living on its own sphere. And then below that, the personal service, right? The nails, the hair, the eyelash guys, and then medical. Medical is always moving. There's always a need for it, especially in markets that have a major void for it. So I would say, the categories that we're seeing the most of is food, personal service, medical, and then fitness. So,
Do you want to plug anything that you're working on? Like, you have a specific space or a user requirement, and just put it out there into the world. Hey, I need this right now. We're ready to sign a deal.
Absolutely. So it was, I would say, June of last year, we had taken on a small strip center in Chandler, a 4-tenant building, and at the time it was 50% occupied, so we had 2 spaces to lease. And we had gotten the first space leased, and we were at lease on the second space, and we get a call from another tenant, a quick service operator out of Utah, and they wanted the space, and they wanted to compete for this last space, right? We're at lease with another tenant. They want the space. It's kind of too late, and the deal we got for the landlord was really, really good. Landlord's like, I'm not going to do it. Let's just make our deal that we have already. See you later to this other group. Well, I have a hard time with see you later, and I really don't hear the word no. So I decided, hey, wait, this concept looks kind of cool. Let's chat, right? Subsequently, it turned out that this Korean barbecue quick service concept called Cup Bop, that's CUPBOP, wanted to make a huge push into Arizona. And by a huge push, I mean between 20 to 25 units over the next 2 to 3 years. And so, we worked the cow. I was a nuisance as I am. And lo and behold, now they managed to, I convinced them to be a client of ours. They're pretty unlucky, but no, we've been having a great time with them. They've signed 3 leases this quarter. We've got, 4 or 5 LOIs out right now, real deals that they plan to sign. They want to do 10 in the market this year. And then they're going to transition into the more drive-through model. So what I need now is restaurant or not, infrastructure in high traffic corridors, those freeway sites that we were talking about, right? Yeah. The best of the best, the cream of the crop, where every QSR wants to be. I need that real estate in Phoenix right now for them. Sight unseen, we'll sign a deal. Yeah. So that's just one operator, and we potentially maybe taking them to some other markets as well. So, we'll keep you in the loop on that too.
Good example. And I'd say I've heard similar sentiments from other folks who are, working tenant rep really hard. So that's awesome. Okay. Let's also go through kind of two final questions here. Would love to understand how you market a property once you take a listing. I think you went through a lot of that already. How about we do this? For those out there that are inspired by your story and your journey, and they're maybe thinking about getting started in commercial real estate or transitioning, what were some of the things that you were thinking about or going through? What would you share with them now, given where you're at on your journey?
So when I got into the business, I had just relocated from North Hollywood, where I was dancing professionally for several years. I moved back to Chicago, and my dad came to me one day and said, "Hey, Marty, Mom and I are thinking about selling our house in Chicago. Why don't you get your real estate license? Maybe you can help us do it." And no joke, I said to my father, "What's real estate?" Okay, that was about 4 years ago. And subsequently got licensed and knew nothing about the business. So what I would say to those that are thinking about getting into commercial real estate or real estate in general and know nothing about it is you don't need a formal education in this business to be successful. What you need is an open mind and the willingness to learn and grind, right? Because at the end of the day, what we do is not rocket science. If you can do basic math, you'll be very successful in the business. And if you enjoy connecting with people and building relationships, that's really all it comes down to. So, as far as those that are thinking about getting into the business, I would say, just go for it and don't hold back. And if you want to reach out to me and talk about, any fears or any pitfalls that you're running into, I'm happy to be a resource. The beautiful thing about our business is our ability to give back constantly. And Sean, honestly, I'm so humbled that you even thought to have me on here today. It's amazing. The first time we met in person was at ICSC California about, last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And to from then to now, to see the progression of our relationship and just all the cool projects that we both have been working on, it's amazing. We feel so fortunate, so humbled, and very grateful. So
Well, first of all, great tips for maybe the aspiring commercial real estate professionals out there. And I think the second part that you talked about is such a testament to what you've been doing, and what I'm trying to do more of is I feel like I have a closer relationship with you, even though we haven't met that many times or talked on the phone that much, because I can see what you're working on. So you're developing that personal relationship because you're doing such a good job of putting out consistent, quality content. And it's just like, man, this gal gets it. And she's doing all the right things and she's doing it consistently. And so it keeps, you top of mind for me. And I think that's something to be learned for everybody out there. So again, kudos to you. Marti, let's do this kind of final fire question here, unless someone else wants to chime in with a specific question who's watching us live. When it comes to growing your book of business, what types of clients should reach out to you? Is it landlords? Is it tenants? Is everybody welcome? Is there a specific niche that you think, hey, I am crushing it in this space and we should be doing more of this? Who is that kind of ideal client for you?
So honestly, I have a hard time saying no. It's all of the above, right? We love working with tenants. If you're a tenant thinking about Arizona and you want to understand maybe the focal points, the hot areas in the market, would love to talk to you about how we might be able to help you grow your footprint and really be successful in entering a new market. As a landlord, if you own an asset here or thinking about buying one and you want some leasing advice on whatever market it is and how that market's performing. We'd be happy to consult with you and talk you through, maybe ways that we can add value. And, in general, I am a huge fan of networking. I can't get enough of it. My colleague, Dina, if she was on this call, she'd be making fun of me right now about how much I love networking. It's an illness, but seriously, I love new friends. I love building relationships throughout the country. So if you're thinking about Arizona, want to know about Arizona, or want to teach me about your market, give me a shout. Would love to connect with you.
Love it, love it, love it. Let's see, I think Kenny had just chimed in. She's got 4 sites maybe she's interested in talking to you about. So look, we're deal making live here on the program. Marti, I had your email flashed up. So anyone who wants to get a hold of you, Marti at Zell CRE. And then any final parting thoughts, Marti, before we head on with our day?
No, just we're in the hottest market in the country, and we're the luckiest people to be doing what we do. So, Sean, can't wait to see you next time you're in town. Thank you so much for having me. It really means a lot. And, I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Ditto, Marti. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to educate all of us on what's cooking and super hot and relevant right now. We appreciate it. And we'll see you out there on your next video, Marti. Looking forward to it.
Sounds good, Sean. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.